Okay, well, let's continue on with our discussion, urgency of character formation, strategies, and methods. Sometimes the title I give this presentation, especially if I'm talking to parents, is Raising Children of Character in a Wired World. No? Because it's a different world, really. 15 years ago, we didn't have this kind of availability of the internet. In fact, 15 years ago, um, I think many people never imagined that one day everyone will have a cell phone. I mean, that the cell phone is going to be as normal, as ordinary as having a television set 15 years ago, or a refrigerator, or for that matter, well, the most basic things. We never imagined that it's going to move that fast. Today, it's as ordinary as having a handbag, to have a cell phone, to have your own computer. So, yung mga estudyante sa loob ng classroom natin today, they don't know a world without cell phone. They don't know a world without the internet. They don't know a world without computer. And so that's the kind of generation of young people that we are dealing with. And so even the mindset has changed, attitude, outlook, behavior. And so it is very important that we take very seriously character formation now more than ever. Here are some principles I have that made me get into this character formation, and I need you to accept, at least to agree with these principles if I am going to make sense at all to you. Here's the first one. Let us first realize that all of us teachers are agents of character formation. All, including the math teacher, including the science teacher, including the Filipino teacher. You see, it's not a matter of pag may problema ang values ng mga bata, hindi natin pwedeng sabihin, bigay yan sa guidance, bigay yan sa values teacher. No, all of us, because we are in charge of raising young people to be not just smart, but also good, makes us all agents of character formation. Okay? And therefore, if you are teaching science, English, and math, and your principal, your administrator asked you to come to this seminar, that's a very good sign. That means your administrator understands what it means to be a good educator, that you too are in charge of forming the character of your students. Here's another principle. Character formation is not just another subject. Okay? Di ba masaya tayo dahil pinag-uusapan sa DepEd, gusto nilang ibalik ang GMRC. Gusto nilang ibalik ang values, ang good manners and right conduct. Okay, very nice. But you see, that's not just another subject. It's what every good teacher is supposed to do, to form the character, to mold minds of the young people. Because education is not just about covering the curriculum. It's not just about finishing the textbook. I always mention this in my seminars. Teachers, our success does not just consist in being able to finish the curriculum. Yung bang sasabihin mo, ang galing kong teacher, umabot kami sa last chapter. That's essential, that's good, that's necessary, but that is not what it means to be a good teacher. Being a good teacher means you are able to say at the end of the year, ang galing kong teacher, my students are better human beings because I taught them math, I taught them science, I taught them English. And now they are not just smarter, but they are especially good men and women. Here's another principle. The reason why I say every teacher, every educator is an agent of character formation is because, believe it or not, the students look at our behavior, at our example, at our action, and they learn more from how we treat them, how we deal with them, how we carry ourselves, the powerful example of our life. That is how we form the character of the young people. Young people are going to be kind because you're going to show them kindness, teaching science, English, and math as a kind teacher. They will learn respect because of the way we treat them with respect. They're going to learn professionalism because of the way we come inside the classroom every single day professionally, prepared with um, real sacrifice put in the teaching, in the handling of the class. The young people learn from the example of the teachers. That's why here's my principle. You and I, teachers, are the most important teaching tool inside the classroom. It's not the laptop, it's not the computer. Okay, today we have to rely a lot on the internet with these online classes. It's important, but still, it's the teacher who is the most important teaching tool inside the classroom. I mean, I've gone around the Philippines. I've been able to give seminars to more than 75,000 teachers around the Philippines. And many times, well, before the pandemic started, I would visit a school and sometimes I would hear teachers tell me things like that. Alam mo, Mr. Rentoy, magaling sana ako magturo kung merong video projector in every classroom. Kung meron lang sanang laptop ang bawat teacher. Okay, na, you see, those are very good. And if your school can afford them, go ahead, have the latest technology, have the most powerful laptop that you can have. But they are not what will make learning happen. They are not the most important teaching tool. In the end, it's the teacher. It's the teacher, his behavior, his attitude, his professionalism, his character. In the end, that is what will make the students learn the most important things in life. Here's another one. The school is only as good as its teachers. And if there are administrators here in our audience today, well, please have that very clear in mind. That's why you have to take very good care of your teachers in their professional formation, in their technical formation, especially given this challenging online setup, because the school, in the end, is only as good as its teachers. Believe me, students talk about you over the dinner table. The parents ask, so, kamusta yung teacher mo? They're not going to ask, kamusta yung internet today sa online class nyo? Okay, yeah, sometimes they do. They will ask about that. But more importantly, they are interested to know, how are your teachers? Magaling ba? Are they putting in their effort, their best effort? And then they will judge the school based on what the student, what the kids will tell their parents about the teachers, not about the facilities, not about the materials, but about the teachers. The school in the end is only as good as its teachers. So then, we are dealing with a totally new generation of kids. And mind you, I am not saying here, therefore, that I am against technology. No, in fact, thanks to technology, we continue being able to learn. We continue being able to have professional development seminars like this. Technology is here to stay. And the designers of technology are just designing more and more apps, more programs for kids. Sabi ng latest research in the US, 1/3 of the kids today start using a gadget while still in diapers. 1/3 of the kids today start using a gadget while still in diapers. That's how things go today. Now, I mentioned earlier, 15 years ago, we couldn't imagine that time. We could not have imagined that time that one day we will be even teaching online. 15 years ago, maybe we never imagined that everyone will have a cell phone and everyone will have a computer, will have a laptop. Now, think about it. How will the world look like 15 years from now? We don't know. We don't know how it's going to look like. With this pandemic, it has even become more uncertain. And yet, you and I, teachers, are preparing the young people for that life, for that 15 years from now kind of environment that we cannot even clearly describe as of today. So, tama si David Warlick, we are preparing children for a future that we cannot even clearly describe. That's the biggest challenge now because the 21st century is here. It's not coming. This is it. When I was young, we used to marvel at yung mga television shows like Buck Rogers, ganyan, ano? Or yung sci-fi movies na ang iniisip natin, wow, ang galing ah. Tumatawag siya using the watch, communicating using the watch. Well, we never imagined it was going to happen. It is happening now. People can communicate using their watch or using their cell phone that has become smaller, thinner, lighter, cheaper, more apps. But this new setup, this new environment has brought about a big challenge, especially in character, especially in empathy. We're going to talk about a lot about empathy because this is one of the most, the biggest things affected by technology. Why is empathy affected? Because you can have a kid today, and I'm sure you know of some kids today who can spend the whole day only with their screen, with their tablet, with their cell phone, with their gadget, with their TV screen, with their computer screen. You have cases like that today. Young people who can be spending the whole day only with their gadget, not dealing with other human beings. And yet, it is through dealings with other human beings that you develop empathy, which therefore is very much affected today. So, the death of human empathy is one of the earliest and most telling signs of a culture about to fall into barbarism. If we don't develop empathy of the kids today, expect a future that is barbaric, where people don't know how to deal with each other properly, appropriately, with respect, with kindness. That is one of the effects of this technocentric lifestyle. Now, let's take a look at the young people today. Here are your students today, and look at what they have to contend with. Here are the challenges faced by young people today. And many of these, you and I, older people, did not have to contend with. I call them assaults. Here's the first one: addiction to video games. You can also now replace this with addiction to social media, Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, TikTok. I studied TikTok very deeply during this pandemic, and it's amazing the way it has been designed. The algorithm is designed for maximum desire for followers and likes and comments. I mean, that's how TikTok is designed, to get audience, to get likes, to get people commenting and sharing and using for my day. It's designed, therefore, to make a person really so obsessed with having a lot of likes and a lot of followers and a lot of sharers of their videos. Now, video games, especially with the kind of games the young people play today. No? Yung tipong the more you kill, the more points you get, the higher level you go in the game. That kind. So that is an assault on many young people today because it is a real problem in many houses. It's the source of many conflicts between the parents and the children. when the parents try to stop the kids from playing more video games, from spending more time in Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, and then you have conflict, you have difficulties in the relationship. Here's the second one, violence in media. As I said, especially with the kind of video games the young people get hooked into. I mean, it's really addicting. Video games are designed, and social media is designed according to the dopamine rule. I mean, um, the brain releases that chemical dopamine when they are into their video games, into their social media, much like the dopamine that is brought about by drugs. It's addictive. It's addictive. That's why you have many problems of that sort today in many houses. Kids addicted to the gadget, technology, the games. And then violence. Sabi ng research sa US, by the time a kid turns 13 in the US, but I think hindi tayo nalalayo. We're very much similar in lifestyle. By the time a kid turns 13 years old, sabi ng study in the US, he would have already witnessed 18,000 murders. 18,000 murders from TV shows like Game of Thrones, blockbuster movies like Endgame, um, movies and video games, especially where, as I said, the more you kill, the more points you get, the higher level you go. Violence in media. There is what scientists call, the researchers call, desensitization. Desensitized. The kids today get desensitized with violence because they see it in movies, in TV shows, and many times gory, bloody depiction of murder, suicide, and things like that in movies, no? And then there's the problem of pornography. Pornography. A kid today, kahit grade 1 pa lang, basta marunong nang mag-internet, can be subjected to the most harmful, most damaging pornographic images. And sometimes he does not look for it. It just pops out because of the way these people in the business, in the pornography business, design it. And then there's materialism, and then there's hedonism. O nga naman, kasi if you spend a lot of time in front of the TV, in front of, well, kahit YouTube lang, ano? YouTube with more than 1 billion videos, and many young people spend a lot of time. Well, but now YouTube and TV come with hundreds of hours of commercials, advertisements, and all of them, the message is the same. Just do it. Satisfy, enjoy, drink. Just do it. I mean, it's all about materialism and hedonism. Materialism, upgrade, get the latest. This is the latest. Don't be satisfied with iPhone 11. Meron ng iPhone 13 coming out. They are being manipulated by the environment to be materialistic and hedonistic. That's the kind of world the young people are growing up in. So, here's more. Hindi pa tapos. Here are more things that are now present in the environment which many of us did not have to worry about. Religious indifference. And this pandemic has not helped in any way. It has deprived many people, everyone, a chance to receive sacraments, for example, go to church, for example. I mean, this lockdown is damaging greatly the religious fervor which young people are supposed to be developing at this stage in their life. And then now, as we speak, there are people in Congress pushing for absolute divorce, alcoholism, softness, moral relativism, fake heroes, false heroes presented by ABS-CBN, GMA, Hollywood, Star Cinema, Viva Films, Fake heroes. In the Philippines, sabi ng research, the young people idolize celebrities and athletes. Yun daw ang kanilang role models. I mean, you and I know. We don't have to say it, but you and I know. Celebrities as role models, poor kind of role modeling, drug addiction. So these are assaults on the young people today. That's why, you see, I tell teachers, pag may pumasok ng classroom mo, isang bata acting like a spoiled kid, soft, spineless. Uy, wag ka magalit sa kanya. Biktima yan ng environment niya. That's what I wanted to drive at. The young people today are assaulted by the environment, the kind of environment that he is growing up in. He, she needs our help. Kaya pumapasok yan ng classroom. Kaya pumapasok yan sa ating eskwelahan. More than anything, they need help. They need us to help them grow up to be good in spite of this kind of environment that they're living in. You see, you know what the pandemic has shown us? This online learning, you know what it has shown us? It has shown us that everything they need to learn is already online. Everything they need to learn about math, science, English, social studies, ay lahat nasa online na, available in the internet. I-google lang nila. But the internet cannot teach them respect, responsibility, hard work, faith, patriotism, love for God. The internet cannot teach them those things. In other words, the internet cannot teach them character. We can. So that brings us to the title, Urgency of Character Formation. Now more than ever, the young people need to learn character more than science, English, and math. Because in fact, there are so many materials now online for kids to learn addition, subtraction, division, factoring in a very entertaining, exciting way. More exciting than the way the math teachers can ever do it. Because there are apps, there are programs, there are websites that make the learning of these subjects exciting, but the internet cannot teach them character. It's only us, teachers and parents, adults, who can do that. Especially since we're dealing with the Filipino youth, the Filipino children, whose mindsets seem to be shaped by social media. I mean, you know that we are referred to as the social media capital of the world. And the research tells us we now have a generation of young people who are proving to be the most gullible in the history of mankind. You can have people today who will believe what they will see in headlines simply because it appeared in a Facebook post, simply because it was shared 1,000 times by people. You have people today who will believe what the headline says, even if they don't click it and read it. Clickbait lang pala. So we're dealing with this kind of generation today. And then, very sadly, I mentioned pornography earlier, but there is more to it. The young people today are living in an environment with a highly sexualized culture. Highly sexualized culture. This is very Western. And we are exposed to it because we are so immersed in the Western culture. Movies, TV shows, MTVs, with women being depicted as sexual objects, for example. I mean, you cannot deny this. Any movie you see, many times you will see there depiction of sex and sexualized, I mean, people being presented like merely sexual objects, no? In billboards, in magazines, websites, pornographic websites, and Twitter, in some apps that enable them to meet up with people without any regard for. So we are living in this kind of environment. The young people are growing up in this kind of environment that is highly sexualized. If we don't uh, take care of their character, well, they are all victims of this kind of environment. And it's not going to go away because technology is here to stay. Technology is here to stay. I'm not saying take away the cell phone, throw away the internet, cut the lines. No, we need this, but we have to help this young kid today who is so immersed in technology to grow up in control of technology and not the other way around. I mean, I'm sure you've seen kids like this, ano? Tapos yung cellphone niya, uy, panis ang cellphone mo compared to his. Pero bata pa yan. When I see a kid like this, I feel a bit upset, irritated. Why? Because naaalala ko, pinag-ipunan ko. Minsan hindi pa ako nag-lunch, minsan hindi ako nagmerienda para lang makabili ng una kong Nokia 3210 na ang mahal-mahal, ano? It's very expensive. But here's a kid today who has high-tech gadget, sophisticated cell phone, but wala siyang salary. Hindi niya pinag-ipunan yan. He didn't have to miss merienda or lunch to be able to have that cell phone. So, what is that bringing about among the young people today? Ito ang reklamo natin sa tinatawag nating millennials. Ang lakas ng kanilang sense of entitlement. Ang lakas ng kanilang sense of entitlement. Some of you are parents, right? And you heard your kid going to you, Mommy, Daddy, I need a cell phone. Ako na lang ang wala sa klase. Yan, that kind of argument. Ako na lang ang wala sa klase. Parang gusto mong sabihin, tumahimik ka, iyo, grade 1 ka pa lang. Ikaw lang ang wala sa klase. But that's how they talk. It's as if they are entitled to it. They have to have it because the whole world already has a cell phone, his own laptop, his own computer. Or a kid comes to you saying, Daddy, Mommy, kailangan natin ng high-speed internet, ha? I need it for my online class. I need it for my asynchronous and synchronous classes. Kailangan high-speed, hindi pwedeng low-tech. And then you want to tell the kid, tumahimik ka, grade 1 ka pa lang. Project, homework, assignment. But that's how they think. That's how the world has made them think. They have to have the latest. They have to have the high-end one. They have to have the powerful Wi-Fi signal. Sense of entitlement. That is brought about by this kind of environment. As I will repeat, technology is here to stay. That gadget, that tablet is not going to go away. The tech companies will just come up with something cheaper, brighter, thinner, lighter, more powerful, more apps, more colors, but it's not going to go away. Our job is to make sure this kid holding the tablet continues to be in control and not the other way around, technology controlling him. Okay? So that is the kind of world that we are living in. And before you know it, these tech companies will come up with apps even before a kid is born, even before a kid is able to go to school. I mean, that is how it is right now, right? Hindi pa nga pumapasok sa eskwelahan, may marunong nang mag-internet, marunong nang gumamit ng cellphone, ng gadget, ng tablet. Okay, all these, the digital lifestyle has brought about a stronger sense of self, vanity. This selfie mentality was not there before, right? I mean, we never took a picture of our caldereta and binagoongang kangkong and let the world know, ito ang ating lunch, ito ang ating merienda, ito ang ating dinner. Nowadays, you have young people. They will not touch the food until they first post it in Instagram, that they take a picture of it and let the world know, ito ang aking ulam ngayon. I am in Starbucks now. Yan, they take a picture of their Starbucks cup and let the world know we are in the coffee. That's the kind of world the young people are growing up in. And the researchers call this the pageantry of vanity, which if you look more closely, oo nga, something really is wrong about that. I mean, do you really need to let the world know how you feel? Feeling blessed, feeling happy, feeling sad? Do you really need to let the world know na may away ka sa nanay mo? You're ranting in Facebook, you're tweeting something against your sister, your brother. I mean, what happened, whatever happened to intimacy or to things that are really just for between two people? So that is the kind of world the young people are growing up in. Now, here are more reasons why character formation has become far more urgent than ever. Remember, we're talking about urgency of character formation. In the second half, we will talk about, sige nga, what do we do? What can we do? But here's another reason why we teachers need to do our forming of character even more effectively, because we now have more and more young kids coming inside our classroom, coming inside our Zoom room, our Google Meet room, our Microsoft Team room, and they come from broken families. It's happening. We have now more young people who come from dysfunctional families. Maybe hindi naman naghiwalay. It's just that the mother is in Dubai, the father is in Saudi. OFWs, right? And we have 11 million Filipinos like that who chose to be able to work abroad so that they can send dollars back home. And they do it because they love their family. But you and I know, especially among you who have been teaching for decades like me, you and I know, many times pag may problemang discipline, attitude, behavior in the kid, ay kaya naman pala, wala ang nanay, wala ang tatay, walang supervision sa bahay. Bakit laging natutulog itong estudyante ko? Siyempre kasi walang nanay at tatay, ang nagpapalaki yung lola na kayang-kayang kinakaya ng bata. I know a kid being raised by the neighbor because both parents chose to be able to work abroad. And it's just not the same when the parents are not there. And so we have students coming inside their classroom, and we need to be a parent to them. We need to fill in the vacuum, or we need to be more understanding with a kid because the parents are not there. That is the kind of role we now play many times because we have more and more students, cases like this. Okay, so how do we do it? What can we do so that we are able to form the character, mold the minds of our students? That's why you see, I don't like the expression, I prefer the expression, you teachers, we teachers are entrusted with students to take care of. We're not just given subjects to teach. We are not just given subjects to teach. We are entrusted with young people to take care of, to mold the minds of, to form the character of. Sure, we want them to learn science, English, and math, but even the internet can do that. We are especially interested in seeing them grow up to be good people. How do we do it? By our example, by our direction, by our verbal explanation. Here's something controversial I will tell you, teachers, sometimes Even if it has nothing to do with your subject, you may need to comment on the hot issues of the day, the headlines of the day, even if it has nothing to do with your subject. If it is just to give the young people the correct perspective, the correct ideas, sometimes we need to comment on the issues of the day. Okay? That's by our direction. For example, there is a news of scandal that came out in the primetime news yesterday. And then we start our class Monday, math. We cannot ignore the fact that the students know about that scandal. They watched it in the news. They heard about it. And they need the adults to help them make sense of it, to get the right perspective, to understand it, why it was wrong. And we are the ones who will have to do that. So it's not a waste of time if we do so. That is not wasting time. We are teaching, we continue teaching our young people. So we are not afraid to comment on the issues of the day to our students in order to help them make sense of what is happening in the world, of what is happening around them, because they are affected by these things. They are not machines that we ignore. And sometimes there is more to life than that math subject that we're teaching. There's more to life than just that subject verb agreement that we are going to cover with them. And on that day, there is more to life than that scientific formula that we are teaching them. We are preparing them for a good life, not just pass a subject, pass a quiz, pass a test. Here are 10 tips for raising moral kids from Dr. Michelle Borba that I'd like to share with you. 10 tips. How can we make sure the young people will grow up moral, still choosing to do the right thing? And with this, it's like a method, because our mindset is we don't want just we don't just want to produce geniuses in English, in math, in science. We want to raise good men and women. We are interested in seeing our young people grow up to be upright, not just successful, but in fact, research says concentrate on character, academic achievement will follow. Concentrate on character, academic achievement will follow. Oo nga naman, kasi with character, they will become more persevering, hardworking, they will have integrity, they will do their best effort, that's character. But concentrate on academics, they will not necessarily become good. In fact, I know some schools where the competition is so tough and so strong, so powerful. The valedictorian and the salutatorian are resorting to cheating in order to retain or in order to compete for the top spot. No character. You see, concentrate on academics, character will not necessarily follow. But concentrate on character, academic achievement will follow. Here's tip number 1 from Dr. Michelle Borba. Let's commit to it. Commit to raising a moral child, because research says parents who feel strongly about their kids turning out morally usually succeed because they committed themselves to that effort. And here's the same research saying teachers who feel strongly about their students turning out morally usually succeed because they committed themselves to that effort. So this is very important. This is what this seminar today is all about. Let's start teaching for character. Let's make character formation a top priority. Let us not just desire to see our students go on to be experts in math, science, and English. In fact, sometimes we need to admit the fact some of our students are not going to be geniuses in science, English, and math. Some of them talagang hanggang doon na lang yung kaya nila sa English, science, or whatever subject it is that we're teaching. But no exemption, no exemption. All of them can be good, can grow up to be a good person with the respect, with the responsibility, with virtues. Dr. Barba says, if you really want to raise a moral child, then make a personal commitment to raise one and do not stop until he does, until she does. You see, this is for both teachers and parents. If you're a parent, your greatest legacy to your children, if you're a parent, your greatest legacy that you can leave behind your children is a strong conviction. I have to be a good person. That's the greatest pamana that you can ever leave behind your children. Yung conviction, I have to be a good person. Similarly, teachers, that can be your greatest contribution to humanity. Raising young people with a strong conviction that they want to be good people. Here's number 2. Be a strong moral example. And this is not the first time we're saying it. We mentioned it already earlier in the principles. The most effective way to teach character is through our example. I think I have a video that I want to share with you here, which is also a very good way for us to have a bit of break. Each day, ask yourself, if my student had only my behavior to watch, what example would he catch? Let's continue on. Number 3. Remember, we're talking about 10 tips from Michelle Borba on how to make sure itong mga kabataan, these young people, entrusted to us in our class will grow up to be moral. Okay? Because we are not just interested in seeing them grow up to be good in math, science, and English. We are interested especially in seeing them grow up to be good people. Many of you chose to become teachers because that's at the back of your mind, because we are in a position to help form consciences, mold minds, raise young people to be good, not just experts in math and science and English. Know your beliefs and share them. Why? Because the young people keep on hearing the opposite of our values in MTVs, in music, in videos, in television, in the internet. I mean, the in the internet, there seems to be a sort of glorification of the vulgar. And, or in movies, I mean, nowadays you watch a movie and chances are you will hear a lot of profanities, bad words, offensive language. Um, and the young people pick that up. They pick it up because, well, media is very powerful. Is very powerful. And then you watch the news and you hear about corruption, billions of pesos being unaccounted for, corruption. We should be concerned more, especially about the young people hearing this and, well, let's hope that they do not get desensitized. And then they think that there's nothing wrong with that because they keep on hearing about it, that it's just the normal thing. It's just the, no, we have to make sure the young people hear our values of honesty, of sincerity, of uprightness, morality, even if all the opposites are what they hear in media, in the news, in social media especially. Number 4, use teachable moments. And for the teacher of character, for the teacher who believes that we are agents of character formation, Every moment is a teachable moment. Every moment. Nanalo ang class mo sa intrams. That is a teachable moment where you can make them learn humility. That even if they are champions, yeah, they shouldn't be arrogant, proud. It's a teachable moment. Natalo sa intrams, that is a teachable moment, again, of humility, of perseverance, of looking forward to the day when they will be able to get back and be able to try again without quitting and without giving up. No? Every moment is a teachable moment. Um, there is news about typhoon in a place with many people dying. That is a very important teachable moment of caring for the others, especially the needy, of having a heart for humanity, of being grateful for what we have. Every moment for the teacher of character formation is a teachable moment. Number 5, use discipline as a moral lesson. I will expound on this, especially when I go to the session on classroom management. Discipline as a moral lesson. Instead of going around just punishing, detained, you're suspended, you will do this, you will, instead of going around looking for people to discipline, use those moments as moral lesson. John, you did not submit again your assignment. um, how would you like it if you're the teacher and you have students who don't cooperate? Or that's a moral lesson. Or John, I heard you teasing your classmate. How would you like it if you're the one being teased and made fun of and your classmates laugh at you? So instead of disciplining, I mean, as a way of disciplining, rather, we make them learn moral lessons so that they become occasions for character formation rather than just simply of punishing, of sanctioning. Number 6, expect moral behavior. I have a strategy I use for this. I tell my students, okay, class, next week ang exam ha. I expect you to study hard. Prepare for it. I expect that you will not even think about cheating. You see, that is your expectation, that you expect them to behave morally, uprightly. Class, I know the test next week is going to be tough. It will require you to study more than usual. So please start studying already because I expect you not to even think about cheating. I expect you to do your best, expecting moral behavior at all times. Number 7, reflect on the behavior's effects. Make the students reflect on the effect of their behavior. Okay, class, um, I received word that your classmate is absent because he is afraid to come to school because you keep on making fun of him. Think about it. If you were in his position, think about it. You yourself would not want something like that to happen to you. But that is the effect of what you have done. You see, make them reflect because sabi ng research, one of the things young people today do not do a lot of is reflecting. They do little reflection. Oo nga naman, because I know some young people who are bombarded with a lot of noise. Many of them even sleep with the earphones on. I mean, reflecting can only happen in silence. When you stop and pause and think. But you cannot think if all the time you're bombarded with images from the screen, from the cell phone, from the TV, from Netflix, from Spotify. Um, we need to make the young people do more reflection. Number 8, reinforce moral behavior. Don't just be on the lookout for wrong behaviors. Look for good behaviors and reinforce them by acknowledging, by even complimenting. John, this is the fifth straight day that you have not been late. Good job. Keep it up. You see, you're not just on the lookout for when he is late and then you reprimand, you comment about it. You also notice that he is struggling and you reinforce it by commenting on it, complimenting it, complimenting the good job or the good work or the good deed, not necessarily the person. Reinforcing moral behavior. Prioritizing morals daily. Yung students nyo should know you to be someone who really values morals. Dito sa class ni ma'am, talagang lagi niyang inuulit-ulit yan about he doesn't like cheating. She hates cheating. Yan. Kilala na tayo ng mga estudyante natin because we have high moral standards and we make morals a priority. Okay lang kung hindi ka honor student. Basta for ma'am, the important thing is you are doing your best and you are upright, that you don't resort to cheating. You don't think of breaking rules in order to get ahead in studies. And number 10, incorporate the golden rule. I mean, if you can even say inside the classroom, okay, class, in my class, there is only one rule, and that is the golden rule. If you can even say something like that, that's good. That means you continue teaching them the golden rule. Do unto others what you would want others do unto you. And do not do unto others what you would not want others do unto you. So, okay, class, John is absent today. If you were absent, what would you want others to do unto you? Well, you want the others to help you in what you missed. Okay, so can I have a volunteer who will help John with what he missed today because he's absent, he's sick? It's no fault of his own that he is not here today. So, can I have any volunteer to help John, to update John about what he missed in our class today? That's the golden rule: to do unto others what you would want others do unto you. Because without morals, the young do not learn how to deal with others correctly and appropriately. Those are the 10 tips of Michelle Borba on how we can make our young people grow up to be upright, moral, doing the good, choosing to do the good all the time. Well, kanina pa natin pinag-uusapan ng good character. Iba-iba ang understanding ng good character. Let's go to the classic writers, Aristotle, Plato, Thomas Aquinas. What, according to them, constitutes good character? Well, they give 10 essential virtues. Sabi nila, a person can be considered man or woman of character, of good character, if he or she has these 10. And each of them is a strategy by itself. How can you develop wisdom, good judgment? How can you develop justice? How can you develop fortitude, toughness in your students? Self-control, love, sacrifice for others, positive attitude, hard work, integrity, gratitude, humility. I know many schools who or which, because they want to cover all the 10, and there are 10 months in a school year, perfect. So let's have the method, the system of the virtue of the month. Every month, let's concentrate on one virtue. And then the class advisor can comment on that virtue. And then the students can be made to write, um, suggest 3 concrete ways that the students can live fortitude, for example, inside the classroom and at home. And then let them share it. And then I know a school, they would even make the students propose a virtue of the month motto. A motto. Every week, a motto that the students will write on every paper that they will submit or every test paper that they will have on top. A motto that is related to the virtue of the month. That's a system, it's a method, and it's effective. It works. It makes the students realize that, wow, this school really values character. This school is serious about forming our character. We even have the virtue of the month, the virtue of the month talk given by the class advisor. We even have the motto of the week, the commentary or recommendations of the students on how to be able to live, concrete things that we can do to live the virtue every month. That's one strategy. Okay, here's another strategy in forming character. Introduce the young people to appropriate role models. Introduce them to appropriate role models. Because if we don't introduce them to appropriate role models, talo tayo ng Star Cinema, Viva Films, Hollywood movies. Celebrities become their role models. And as I said earlier, they are not exactly the best role models. They're not exactly the appropriate role models we want for our young people. Whatever subject you're teaching, I'm sure makakakita ka dyan ng appropriate role models. Scientists, for example, who showed exceptional perseverance. Thomas Edison, who did not give up even after failing 1,000 times in the experiment on the light bulb. He didn't give up. He didn't quit. Can you imagine if he decided to quit or to give up on the 780th attempt? And then wala na. He didn't continue. Well, we wouldn't have the light bulb today. But because of that perseverance. Historical characters. There are some who are appropriate role models. Mathematicians, literary characters. You see, we can look for this, whatever subject we're teaching, we can look for these appropriate role models that we can present to the young people as appropriate role models. So, direct and indirect instruction, as I said earlier, sometimes we need to make comments on the issues of the day, even if they have nothing to do with our subject. But even more so if they can be incorporated into our lesson. Direct and indirect instruction. Okay, let's go to more strategies. My sources now are from Harry Wong, First Days of School, Rafe Esquith, we will cover him, especially practically in all the talks this week. Rafe Esquith strategies will be very valuable for us. And I'm going to share some of those strategies with you, especially in class advisory and classroom management. Now, a little bit about Rafe Esquith. He has been a teacher of grade 5 in a poor community in Los Angeles, where many of the students end up failed, delinquent, or even jailed, except all the students who passed through his grade 5 class. What does he do? Well, I'm going to share some of those strategies with you. The bell rings at 7:30 in the morning for the start of the class, but his students are there at 6 a.m. excited to do math and English drills. The bell rings at 3:30 for dismissal, but his students are there excited to rehearse for the Shakespeare play. So he has many of those strategies. I'm going to share with you some of them belonging to this particular session today. And then the other one is Hal Urban, Lessons from the Classroom, 20 Things Good Teachers Do. Okay, so let's talk about the Rafe Esquith strategies especially. Sabi ni Rafe Esquith, whatever you do, teachers, whatever you do, to develop delayed gratification will be very good for the students to prepare for life. Let us give students activities that will help them develop delayed gratification, which will not just help them pass a subject, pass a quiz, or pass a test, but become good people, become good men and women. Delayed gratification. So, how does it look like, or what can we do in order to develop that? For example, talk to the kids about the two marshmallow experiment. You remember this experiment, which was done in Harvard, Stanford, Yale. Each one of them has their own version of the study, and the study was repeated with different kids of different economic backgrounds, but the results always showed the same. So, what is this experiment? Kids were put inside a room, and then an adult tells them, "Okay, kids, I'm going to give all of you two marshmallows each. Okay? Now, I'm going to leave you, and when I come back, you have not eaten your marshmallows, I'm going to give you two more. But if you've eaten your marshmallows already, sorry, you're not going to get any more." So that was the instruction. And as I said, they repeated this to different groups of kids with different economic backgrounds. As soon as the adult left the room, some kids ate the marshmallows. Walang delayed gratification. Some of them may pakurut-kurut muna ng kaunti, and then they couldn't take it anymore. They would eat it. Some others resorted to even strategies so that they are not tempted to eat the marshmallows. They would look away. They would not even look at the marshmallows so that they're not tempted. Now, that's not the experiment yet. They followed the life of these kids. 15 years later, they discovered those with delayed gratification, hindi kumain ng marshmallows. They had self-control. They had temperance. They had strong character. 15 years later, they were above average performers. They were successful, and they were all high achievers. Those without delayed gratification, yung kumain ng marshmallows, some of them were failures, below average performers. Some of them even already kicked out. There is a correlation between delayed gratification and success, self-control and success, character and success. Students should know this. Kids should know that, so that they will want to develop delayed gratification. They will want to develop self-control. They will want to develop character. Here's a strategy to teach students delayed gratification. Modeling or rug project. You know, modeling yung make a model of the turn of the century plaza. Yung they have to glue tiny pieces of matchsticks even together, attention to detail, to be able to come up with a diorama, to be able to come up with a model of a car, to be able to come up with a model of a house. That's delayed gratification. Hindi pwedeng mamadaliin yan. You have to be very careful in putting the glue carefully in every piece, in putting every tiny little piece in its proper place. No? Or rug project, yung make a map of the Philippines by making a rug, yung every inch you have to cover with the correct colors, with the right placement. Otherwise, you will not be able to come up with the correct map. That's delayed gratification. Hindi pwedeng mamadaliin yun. You have to be attentive to details. You have to pay attention to the smallest details. That's delayed gratification. And it develops delayed gratification among the kids. Here's another one, board games. According to Rafe Esquith, making the kids play board games is a great way to teach delayed gratification. Like chess, you have to wait for your turn. Hindi mo pwedeng mamadaliin. And then you have to be very careful about every move. You have to be a step ahead of your opponent. You have to think about what could possibly be his next move that I will. So that's delayed gratification. Hindi pwedeng mamadaliin. You have to study carefully every move, and you have to wait for your opponent. Delayed gratification. Here's another one, jigsaw puzzles, especially those jigsaw puzzles with 1,000 pieces, where you have to study every piece and put it in the right place. Otherwise, one misplaced piece can ruin the whole thing, or you will not be able to finish the whole thing. Delayed gratification. It's a great way to, I mean, hindi pwedeng mamadaliin kasi you have to study every piece and put it in its right place. Those are all the ingredients to developing delayed gratification. Here's another one, gardening. Sabi ni Rafe Esquith, it's one of the most effective ways to teach delayed gratification. They have to learn how to wait and make the seed grow according to nature. Hindi pwedeng um, hilahin natin yung dahon sa munggo seed para lumabas kagad, para mamadali. You have to wait. Delayed gratification. So these are all strategies of Rafe Esquith, and he has more. Think about it. What else can you do in order to help the students develop delayed gratification? Okay, it's 4:20. I will give a little break now by just showing a little video. And then when we come back, I'm going to tell you right away how to get your certificate, okay? Because there's an instruction I have to give about that. The first I mentioned is developing delayed gratification among the young people. That is a very powerful way of forming their character. You see, and by doing this, you're not even sermonizing. You're not even lecturing about it. You're making them do things that will help develop delayed gratification. Now, some of you may be math teachers. Rafe Esquith says, you, my dear math teachers, are in a position to teach the young kids one of the most important skills they need in life, and that is problem-solving skill. You see? Because that's what we're going to be doing for the rest of our life, looking for solutions to problems. And so Rafe said, take advantage of that. You teachers of math should find ways, many ways that you can make the students really learn problem solving, develop problem solving skill. He even suggests this website, mathstories.com, which contains many, many fantastic problems that can help the students develop problem solving skills. You know, the class of Rafe is a self-contained classroom. He's the only teacher from morning to afternoon, from the first period to the last. He's the one who teaches all the subjects to the grade 5 kids. And so he's there for lunch and recess. And he would make himself available for students to learn, those who want to learn the guitar or the keyboard during last lunch or recess. That's why in the class of Rafe, he's been doing this for 28 years. By the end of the school year of grade 5, all the students know how to play the guitar or the keyboard or both. That's why it's really life-changing for the students. Here's another strategy that he does. He would make the students read The Little Prince by Antoine de Saint-Exupéry. Very fantastic book. It's not even thick. Some people have even read it in one sitting, huh? But it contains a lot of life lessons on friendship or on what is essential is invisible to the eyes. Only through the heart can one see rightly, like that. No, there's no shop where one can buy friendship. Fantastic life stories. And even if you read it as a grade 5 kid, as a high school kid, as a high school student, as a college student, as a teacher, even if you read it as an adult, you can still get many brilliant lessons, life lessons, ideas. Okay, I said earlier, the bell would ring at 3:30 for dismissal, but the students of RAFE are there excited to rehearse for a Shakespeare play from 3:30 to 6 p.m. And it's not just um, by the end of the year, they're able to present it, and they get invited all over the United States to perform that Shakespeare play. Now, it's not just for the sake of having a Shakespeare play. He would do it because play or theater is another way, another strategy to develop delayed gratification. You see, hindi mo pwedeng mamadaliin yan. You have to spend time memorizing the lines. And then you have to practice blocking, choreography. You have to study movements of the characters. And then you have to, day after day, rehearse so that they get the nuances of what they're saying. Hindi pwedeng mamadaliin. That's why he would make them do play or theater. And besides, it's one of the best ways to develop camaraderie, teamwork, friendship, because they have to work together as a team, as a class, in being able to present the play. So it's another strategy of his to develop delayed gratification, teamwork, team spirit, and working with a team. Okay, I'm not going to tackle all these. You look at the names, just by the names, you know, uy, oo nga, ang dami, ano? Ang dami pang pwedeng gawin. Ang daming system that can be put in place. Some of these I will be discussing in the classroom management. Now, some of you may actually be copying the slides or copying the, trying to take notes. I'm going to make the slide available for all of you. The PowerPoint presentation, I will tell you later how you can get a copy, as well as how to get recording, no? A copy of the recording of the presentation. Okay, let us go to just a few more strategies, and then we are winding down. Just some more concrete strategies I'd like to share with you. Good Deeds Bowl. You know, may mga estudyante ako nagko-complain. Sir, alam mo, yung teacher namin, wala nang ginawa kundi maghanap ng mali namin. Parang lagi lang ang napapansin yung mali. Okay, well, here's a solution to that. The Good Deeds Bowl. I've done it. I've used this strategy inside the classroom, but you can find ways of being able to do it even in an online setup. So here's what I would do. In my room, in my classroom, I would have a bowl. Usually yung parang fish bowl na transparent. You can see what's inside. And then a box of marbles. Yan. Okay? Well, if you don't want to buy marbles, masyadong mahal, okay, then you can pick up those pebbles. You can have a collection of those small pebbles that you can pick up in the street. Or kung wala kang time to do that, I'm sure you can have time to be able to do yung ball of paper, di ba? Yung small balls of paper. And then here's how it works. Every time I catch somebody doing a good deed, I would say, John, I saw you picking up trash even if I didn't tell you to. Good job. That's what it means to have initiative. You have made the class gain a marble in the Good Deeds Bowl. And then I will put it in the Good Deeds Bowl. Joanna, I heard that you helped John when he was absent last week. Good job. That's what it means. To be caring, to be kind, to be helpful. You have made the class gain a marble in the good deeds bowl, and I'm going to put it in the good deeds bowl. Jerry and John, I see that you've been cleaning up that area there. Good job. You have made the class win 2 marbles in the good deeds bowl. So I would always be on the lookout for good deeds done by the students. And the objective is once they fill up the bowl with good deeds, marbles or pebbles or those tiny little pieces of paper formed into a bowl, as soon as they're able to fill it up, the class is up for a reward. Whether it is we will watch a movie related to what we're studying, or we're going to have a quiz bee, or we're going to have a treasure hunt, or I would even say you will be allowed to open your notebook for 30 minutes as a reward when we are able to fill up the good deeds bowl in the next exam. 30 minutes that you are allowed to open books, notebooks, whatever you want during the exam. Of course, I will have to make sure my questions are on higher order thinking skills, that they will know how to analyze and synthesize and evaluate, and that it's not just a matter of getting the answers from the book or the textbook or the notebook. So, good deeds bowl. I love a class where students are trying to outdo each other in doing good deeds. I love a class where the students are doing all sorts of things to be able to fill up the good deeds bowl. It works. It makes the students more conscious of doing good deeds because the teacher is going to reward us, because the teacher is going to acknowledge it, because it matters for the teachers, for the teacher. Here's so merit reward system. I will have to just warn you. I'm going to talk about it in, I think, class advisory and the session on um, class management. Reward is second level of moral development only. But in this case, rewarding the class as a class is a different matter. Here's the principle of Harry Wong. You stand a better chance of getting the students to do what you want them to do when they are working to get a reward than to avoid a punishment. Okay? You stand a better chance of success in getting the students to do what you want them to do when they are working to get a reward than to avoid a punishment. In other words, what I want you to strive to do is to create a class culture and identity. This one will come especially in the session we have on class advisory, which is really creating a culture, a mindset, and an identity. That the students will start thinking here inside our classroom, the teacher values values. He values good deeds, good work, kindness. You see, you make them start thinking that way because of the way you run the class, because of what you reward, because of what you acknowledge, because of what you show as important to you. Class culture and identity. Here's another strategy, the trophy technique, and I've used it inside the classroom, and it can be done even in an online setup, especially if you can form your students into rows or groups. Okay, so here's how it works. I'll give you the example in how I did it inside the classroom, and then you can, as I said, apply it even in an online setup. Okay, class, this week, the row or the group that recited the most, participated the most, and did the best in all the quizzes, and was always participative and cooperative in all the things we did, is row number 4. The trophy this week belongs to row number 4. Okay, and then there's celebration. And then you say, let's see who or which row will have the trophy next week. And so you now have the different rows trying to outdo each other in being cooperative, in being supportive, in being reciting, in participating, in doing well in the quizzes. I love a classroom where students are trying to outdo each other in doing good, in participating, in being cooperative, in being supportive. The trophy can be literally a trophy, or it can be a certificate, or it can even just be a virtual trophy. You just write on the board, the trophy this week belongs to. Now, even better if the rows give themselves a name. It's not just row 4, it's called the Warriors. It's not just row 5, it's the Bravehearts. It's not just row 1, it's the Achievers. So they give themselves an identity, a name. This week, the trophy belongs to the Achievers. Let's see if the Warriors and the Bravehearts can win the trophy next week. I love a class where students are trying to outdo each other doing good. That's the trophy technique. So, all these strategies I've shared with you um, are to drive home the point about the urgency of character formation. Now, more than ever, this work of formation is urgent and important given the kind of, um, well, as I showed you, the environment the young people are growing up in, given given the crisis we're seeing in the world today, where young people are growing up to be selfish, self-centered, vain, technocentric, addicted to gadgets, addicted to social media, technology, and many more. And things are going to get worse if we do not attend to empathy, kindness, sense of responsibility, respect. That's why we say this is a very urgent concern, a very urgent matter. So, what is our first step? Let's be moral example to our students. Let's be good example to our students. Three things I never fail to mention when I am talking to teachers, and I'm talking to teachers now, so I will have to mention it to you. Well, number one is teachers. Um, let's never ever use foul language, foul words, bad words, profanity, because when we do, our reputation plummets. We lose our effectiveness as agents of character formation. Number two, teachers, wala kang karapatan magalit sa students if they come to class late, if they submit their project late, if they give their homework late. Kung ikaw mismo, ma'am, late ka pumasok ng class, late ka magbalik ng test papers, late ka magbigay ng unit plans. In other words, what I want to drive at is we cannot require our students to do something we don't first show by our example, that we don't model first with our students. And then number three, teachers, do not ever criticize your school, your administrators, your principal, because our job in that school is to get the students identify themselves with a school, with the spirit of the school, with a mission, vision of the school, with what the school stands for. Pero kung tayo mismo ang unang-unang nagki-criticize noon, speak badly about it, then we would have lost our opportunity and our ability to get the students identify themselves with a school. Okay, that is very important considering that, well, that's the kind of environment we're growing up in right now, where you have a lot of these um, sour graping or backbiting or gossiping or bad mouthing. So we have to be the model of that uprightness in relations with our school. Okay, so let me give you some ideas. No, If you go to facebook.com groups, free downloadables, join the group, and you will be able to download there the many handouts, many materials. And that is where I will also post the link to the recording of this presentation today. And I will only let it stay there for 1 week. And that's where you can also download the PowerPoint presentation that I used today.